I want to prove the trig identity. 1 minus sine squared times 1 minus tangent squared is equal to 2 cosine squared minus 1. Okay, first step is rewrite tangent squared in terms of sine squared and cosine squared. So tangent squared is just sine squared over cosine squared. I'm going to leave 1 minus sine squared the way it is. And now I can subtract 1 with sine squared over cosine squared by getting a common denominator of cosine squared. So when I subtract these, the common denominator is cosine squared. And then I get cosine squared minus sine squared as the numerator. Notice my answer here only needs to be in terms of cosine squareds. So let's replace all the sine squareds with cosine squareds. We know that sine squared plus cosine squared is 1. So sine squared is then 1 minus cosine squared. Okay, I have the negative sine squared for both of these. So let's multiply negative 1 to both sides and replace negative sine squared with negative 1 plus cosine squared. Okay, so we have 1 minus 1 plus cosine squared times cosine squared minus sine squared. Well, sorry, negative sine squared we said is negative 1 plus cosine squared. And that's just going to be all over cosine squared. Here we have 1 minus 1 is going to give us 0. So that goes away. I'm left with cosine squared, which gets canceled with the bottom. Now I have cosine squared plus cosine squared here. That is 2 cosine squared. And negative 1 left over. And notice this is the exact same thing that we needed to end with. So this completes the proof.